This is Eleanor Hospice in Gravesend, one of Kent's busiest hospices. A registered charity, Eleanor provides treatment to over 2,500 people requiring care and support right across the county. The care that they deliver is free for people of all ages. 24 hours a day, 365 days of the year.
I have my own little motto, and it's live life hard and fast and every day as if it's your last.
You know, life is precious. When people realise they have a shorter time than they thought was likely, actually every moment matters.
Their 200-strong staff and 600 volunteers are dedicated to making people's remaining days the best they can be.
It's about just letting that person just leave the ward with dignity and respect.
I'm sure every nursing profession cares, but there's something special about hospice.
Hi.
Eleanor also take their support and treatment right into people's homes.
To have a really good cry is amazing.
You may think a hospice is a place people come to die.
Some people think as soon as you say the word hospice, that's the end of the road.
But it's actually a place people come to live.
There's a huge amount to offer.
It is full of fun. It is full of laughter.
You need to live life to the full. You don't know what's around the corner.
So let's make the most of what we've got.
It's 8:30 a.m. at Eleanor Hospice, and consultant Dr. Sheraz Majid is due to check in on one of his patients, Rob, who currently has a special visitor in his room.
Hello. I have a lot of respect for people who care about animals, but I am personally not a dog lover. I'm afraid of dogs, so anywhere I go where the dogs are, I really get scared. Whenever I go in Rob's room, they know that I'm not really good with the dogs. Hello. Is the dog under? Hi, nice to meet you. Hi, we met. Yes, we met. And your dog is here, keeping you busy.
Bending the arm back.
He's been probably tangled with the oxygen lead there.
Yeah. Diabetes.
Rob is suffering from terminal lung cancer, and his son Michael has been bringing his dog Trigger to the hospice to give his dad some extra comfort.
My dog Trigger had a really strong bond with my father. In the mornings, first thing when we come up, my father says hello and they have a couple of minutes together. And it's been good with the dog in here, and it's been really useful to bring him in here to visit my father while he's been ill.
How's the pain?
Great.
You've got no pain.
Okay. And you were feeling anxious, weren't you?
I've been, yeah.
And is that the syringe that we give you, does that help? I spend a lot of my time in understanding the patients, understanding what they're going through, and having that empathy and sympathy for them. And gentle things help to break the ice, and that's what I feel, what I do the best. I sit down with them, reassuring them that I'm here to support them.
Meanwhile, the children's team are having a meeting ahead of their regular under-5s fun club session. The newest member of the team is Charlotte. Today, as part of her ongoing training, Charlotte will be running Fun Club for the first time.
So Charlotte, you're leading today. What's the plan for us and the children?
Well, because we've got the boys and they're mainly sensory-based toys, I've got the sensory pod coming out and sensory toys, and we're going to do, because it's Valentine's coming up, I'm going to do like a love bug card for both of them, which is their feet being painted and then printed on. So
what colours do we need?
During her children's team training, Charlotte will be mentored by team leader Hannah.
So if I observe you today, and then we can go through and do the training on the medications.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm a little bit nervous about running the session today, only because it's my first time, so it's a bit nerve-wracking, but I think I'll do okay because I've got my plan in place.
The care Eleanor provides reaches well beyond the hospice building itself. This morning, community nurse Linda is heading out to visit one of her long-term patients, John, who has prostate cancer and bone metastases. John has been living alone while his wife Jocelyn is in hospital, recovering from a fractured hip. Jocelyn will return from hospital soon, so nurse Linda wants to make sure that caring for his wife will not be too much for John.
My worry is when your wife's coming home, you're going to get more uncomfortable because you're going to be doing a little bit more, whereas you can rest at the moment. But I think when your wife comes, you can't rest as well, can you?
I mean, she came home for Christmas Day just to spend the day with the family.
Yeah.
And quite honestly, I was glad when it's time for her to go back. I was absolutely shattered.
You're probably going to find you're going to bed earlier because you're going to be more tired, aren't you?
At 9 o'clock now, I've already shut the lights out and everything. Say to Jasper, you've had it now. You can't go out anymore.
No more, oh bless you.
Yeah, he's a good friend.
He is, yeah. You said before he's been great company for you.
He has, yeah. And that was all down to our children, the girls. I said, you need companionship.
I think when we saw John originally, he had been very lonely because Jocelyn had been away from him for about 9 weeks. He did very much then focus on his cat, keeping him company. So I think for John, just having Jocelyn home will do him the world of good and boost his mental well-being. So I think with John acting as a carer, because obviously Jocelyn can't do really anything at the moment, it would be his tiredness and pushing himself too far when he's already got pain, but wanting to provide food for Jocelyn and drinks and just generally running the house. But I would worry that he gets overtired and then becomes more unwell.
Back at Eleanor, Michelle from the housekeeping team is going over her list of cleaning jobs for the day.
I've got to go into the big dining room, I've got to go out onto the green, I've got to do the green toilets. Quite a lot still to do. I'm a really hands-on person. I get on, I do any job that is, asked of me. Toilets can be a little bit, but it's part of the job. So I just put my smile on and do it. I'm a local girl and I used to come up to the shop and I looked across and I thought, I wonder whether they want any volunteers there. So I called in, inquired, filled in a form, started volunteering. I'd done a year's volunteering. Then I was fortunate to get a part-time job and then fortunate to get a full-time job. So I've now been full-time at Eleanor for 2 years.
Because each volunteer brings their own unique set of skills to the hospice, they can provide a variety of services to patients. Today, volunteer Molly is offering beauty treatments to patients in the day therapy unit.
My name's Molly. My mum has been a nurse with the Eleanor for 25 years. So I'm not a nurse, this isn't my job, I'm not a carer, but I just thought if I can get involved in something and take a day off of work or spend my day off work coming to do this and help, then yeah, that's what I'd like to do. So I'm coming to do the patient's makeup today. Again, I'm not a makeup artist, but it's just something I like to do in my spare time.
You'll be looking like your wedding day when you leave here today. We've got nails, we've got hair, we've got makeup. Be looking like a new woman.
There's a lady that I've actually met today, her name's Maureen, and she's actually suffering from Huntington's disease. And you can see that she's just got so much life in her and she enjoys coming in and she has her hair washed and she has it cut. And you just see this kind of smile on her face. And I hope by doing Maureen's makeup and her coming in and having her hair and nails done that she feels loved and that she feels happy and she's left here feeling that people do care about her and her illness isn't something to shy away from and that she's going to have the best end of life care here. when you sit and you are surrounded by people that are extremely ill, they are terminally ill, and they're not necessarily going to be here one day to the next, you think, that could be me one day, and I hope that someone would be doing that for me. I want my hair and makeup done. I'm only with the patient such a short amount of time. Coming in today, I will be here maybe 5, maybe 6 hours. But no, I think it does hit home, and you do feel it, and you do get that sense of emotion that you think, do you know what, I wish I could do more. I wish I could come in every day. I just hope that there's always someone there to look after me, and if there's somewhere like the Eleanor still going when I'm 60, 80, even 30 years old, I really do hope that there's carers like there are here to look after me, definitely.
It's 9 a.m. at Eleanor Hospice. Today, the newest member of the children's team, Charlotte, will lead the Under 5s Fun Club for the first time.
I'm just setting up the sensory pod, and I'm just putting some sensory toys in, so it's all about touching and feeling, different lights.
Charlotte is still being trained in her new role, and today will be mentored by children's team leader, Hannah. Although they only started working together recently, the pair first met 6 years ago when Charlotte's daughter, Paige, was a patient at Eleanor and Hannah cared for her.
Charlotte's daughter Paige had respite from us, and I went into the home and delivered that. I think it's amazing that we have got a parent that after all these years wants to be part of our team, that we were able to help her so much, and Paige, that now she wants to come along and help other families.
My daughter was diagnosed with acute lymphoblastic leukemia in 2010. She was only 2, coming up to 2 at the time. To see your little child go through something like that is really, really heartbreaking. It was tough for her, but I had my family, and of course I had the Eleanor's support. They were absolutely fantastic. So now I work for the Eleanor, and I am now a children's care assistant, which is what my daughter was having Hannah come in to be her respite carer, and now she is my boss, which is, it seems really surreal. Paige is in remission now. She has been in remission 6 years at the end of May. She's doing really well. She's a lovely, bubbly little girl, and I couldn't be proud enough, even if I tried. She's just amazing.
On the hospice's inpatient ward, Dr. Sheraz is checking up on lung cancer patient Rob.
Did you manage to have anything to eat this morning?
Yeah.
You had a couple of Weetabix.
Right, great. And have you ordered something to eat in the afternoon?
He's obviously sleeping a lot more. He sleeps. But he's comfortable, really comfortable. Yeah.
In the case of Rob, he is a gentleman who had quite a nasty cancer, and that had spread to quite a lot of organs, especially into the superior vena cava, which is one of the major vessels that supply the heart. Gradually we control the symptom, but it looks like that he's deteriorating quite rapidly now. It is extremely emotional. You do build up a rapport and a friendship, and you know, when you see the patient and when you get to know them, after a few days you realize you've become like a family. But unfortunately, that's the part of the job that I do. Life and death is reality. People develop certain cancers, unfortunately, and majority of the times there is no treatment available.
The hospice provides care right across the community. Today, nurse Linda is visiting John, a cancer patient whose wife Jocelyn has just returned home following a long stay in hospital. Linda wants to make sure John isn't overexerting himself, caring for his wife as well as managing his own illness.
How are you doing now Jocelyn's home?
Very well.
Good.
It's made a tremendous difference, coming home, and I'm in companionship, although we've got him.
But I think you were in hospital a long time, weren't you? And it was very hard on John because he was having to ring you.
Yeah.
Because he couldn't get up because he was himself not well.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It was some days, I just could not get out of that chair. So, we got the phone and that saying, look, I can't come in, and that was it. But, it was good.
How are you managing now Jocelyn's home? Because you were worried about the cooking and...
Oh, there's no problem now.
You're managing
Yeah, we're doing well with slow cooker.
You've got your slow cooker going.
Yeah. I've been as well looked after in the hospital, and I'm come home and I'm still being looked after, so I'm very fortunate. Aren't I?
It's very nice, actually.
You've trained him well, Jocelyn.
Yes. Well, I haven't. He's done all this while my back was turned, actually.
I feel that visit went quite well. Him and Jocelyn are getting on really well at home, and that he's obviously very happy to have Jocelyn back home because he was feeling quite lonely when she wasn't there. He doesn't seem as tired as I was worried that he was going to be. I think he is still trying to do quite a lot for Jocelyn because obviously Jocelyn can't walk around without her Zimmer at the moment. But I think he seems to be managing his tiredness, and I'm not as worried as I was when she was first due to come home. When Jocelyn was first coming home, I was really concerned that John would be very tired from having to do the extra work around the house, but actually I think they've adapted really well. I'm not as worried now about him being tired, but I think I do need to have some regular contact with him just to check, especially as his disease progresses, that things are okay and he's not stretching himself too much.
Meanwhile, the children's team Under 5's Fun Club is in full swing. Trainee care assistant Charlotte, who is leading the session for the first time, is getting to know one-year-old patient Noah, under the watchful eye of her mentor, Hannah.
It's 10 o'clock, so as it says here on the board, it's time for Noah's bag to come off. Because I'm still being trained, Hannah will be telling me how and teaching me how to take Noah's bag off.
Right, so it's 10 o'clock, so we'll remove the bag and leave the bag off.
Yep.
If he becomes unsettled later on, we can put the bag back on and see if that helps him settle.
Okay.
So
Noah has HABC syndrome, a brain disorder which affects his ability to swallow. He receives his nutrition via a tube attached directly to his stomach, which needs to be changed regularly.
Let's lift that leg up. Ready? Take your bag off.
There we go, yep,
Just
that's
as we do
clipped
it,
in.
we'll just say to him
Yep.
what we're doing, just
Yep.
so he knows.
Yep.
But we don't want to touch.
I am able to use my own experiences looking after my daughter because she was given medication every day at home. I would have to give her chemotherapy or antibiotics, so I am quite used to drawing up medicine, but obviously it is a little bit daunting doing it with someone else's child. There we go.
That's it.
There we go.
That's it, lovely. So if I hold that,
And
what we
then
might
put
have
that
to
on.
do, does that go on the end?
Oh no, that didn't work.
That's all right. We can get a
Wash
different
it.
part of that because that's fallen on the floor. We can get another part of that.
Yep,
So
no
that's
worries.
sealed.
Yep.
That's fine. We keep it clamped.
That's all clamped.
And then we'll discard both of these, and he should have a spare one of these in his bag, so we can put it all back.
Good
What I do
music
is
time.
because obviously it's got his stomach inside, the stomach contents.
Yep.
Just fold that over.
Yep.
We tuck that bit up there. Just in case it spills, but then we'll put that in the yellow bin.
Yep, okay.
Lovely, all done, Mr. Man. Charlotte is doing really well with her first session of leading. There's just a few little prompts that need to be given. It's just giving her that bit of confidence to ask us and tell us what to do. Lovely, do you want to go and put that in the yellow bin for me?
Yep, and you can stay with him.
Yep, lovely, thank you.
With Noah's tube changed and sensory play over, it's time for some arts and crafts.
Noah's a very lovely child. He's got quite a complex condition, but he's really lovely, and generally he really enjoys coming to Fun Club. He really enjoys the activities. Ready, Noah?
There's a big smile, there it is.
Ready? Wow. Look at that. He's quite tricky, but it's also amazing to see him relax and enjoy himself and get some lovely smiles out of him. It's such an achievement to see.
On the inpatient ward, Dr. Sheraz is halfway through his morning consultation with lung cancer patient Rob. He's giving Rob the news that he will no longer be receiving any unnecessary medication as he now enters into end-of-life care.
Obviously, you know that we've stopped a lot of your medication. I don't think you need them anymore. And we've discussed the reasons already.
Yeah. He's relaxed, he's comfortable.
Palliative medicine is a very, very challenging job. You see life and death on a daily basis. In the case of Rob, he expressed yesterday that he had done what he needed to do, what he needed to say to his family, the goodbyes, the paperwork that he needed to do, all has been done and he's ready to go. And we discussed about the long-term aspects, which would be his dignity and comfort. And that's what we need to focus on.
They've been really kind to me, everyone.
And they've spoken honestly, the doctors to him about what's going on and what's going to happen. And
to me, that is the main thing.
Yeah.
Just be told the truth.
That's all you wanted was the truth, wasn't it?
You can handle the truth in the end.
Yeah. It's all very sad, but...
Yeah, it's sad, but it's life.
He's not scared at all. The only thing he's scared about, he said, was leaving me. He doesn't want to leave me, but he knows he's got to leave me. And that's the only thing.
That's true.
And I must admit, I am scared. Because I've been with Rob now, 42 years. And that's been my life for 42 years, you know what I mean? We might still not talk all night, but I know he's there. Yeah, that type of thing.
If you're next to each other.
Yeah, next to each other.
And that's all I've wanted here in the end, isn't it?
Yeah, he only wants me now. He doesn't really want a lot of people now in and out, like visitors. He doesn't want it anymore now. Obviously, Michael, his son, and he wants me here, that type of thing. Just for his last days.
Yeah. Just live it out as it goes now.
Yeah.
Every day's a bonus.
He said every day he wakes up, it is
Every
a
time I
bonus.
see them trees, I know I'm here for another day.
Yeah. See the sunrise.
Mm.
He does like a sunrise and a sunset, so... And now, I'm not going to have him to sort of go home to. My life's going to be so different. But he is really, really brave. And he's not frightened, and he really isn't. Are you?
No.
He said really all he wants now is his peace. He wants to sleep, you know?
And that's it.
At Eleanor Hospice, the Under 5s Fun Club has just finished, and Charlotte, who has just led the session for the first time, is having a debrief with her mentor, Hannah.
How do you think today went, your session?
Yeah, I think it went quite smoothly. I think it went well. I think the children enjoyed themselves and they seemed to like the activities that we did with them. Found it a little bit nerve-wracking, but I do think it actually went really good.
I think that you were really good at timekeeping today and making sure that the bag needed to be taken off and that the feeds were put on, and leading from one activity to the next, you let the girls know what they were doing and speaking through it. So I think that was really good, and I think that you handled it really well. It didn't seem like that you were nervous. You just handled it very well. You handled the children really well, and it was a very good session.
Thank you very much.
You can lead the next one.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I just do it every week.
Yeah, you do it every week.
Another member of the children's team is clinical nurse specialist Becky. Today, she's going out on a home visit to a child who is in urgent need of multiple organ transplants.
So I'm going to see Nancy. She's a 4-year-old girl who has Mitchell-Riley syndrome, and she's had that since she was born. It's a condition that kind of affects multi-systems. So her pancreas is affected, so she has diabetes and has an insulin pump. She can't quite absorb food that well, so she has to be given that by like a vitamin drip that goes through one of her veins. I think you'll see she'll have a wiggly, as she likes to call it. She has quite a large abdomen and she's waiting for a liver and a small bowel, so she's got quite a lot going on, bless her. Hi!
Hello.
Ready for my visit?
Hi! Do you want your trolley and stuff?
Yes, please.
Yeah?
So how you been? Okay?
Hey.
How you been? You been well?
Dad. What?
You're gonna...
Nancy is really afraid of nurses in uniform. If they approach her, she says, no, don't hurt me, because she thinks straight away they're just gonna do something invasive. Whereas when the Eleanor nurses come out, she just sees them as one of us now, you know?
What would you rather be, a nurse or a doctor? Most of the children that we see, we're looking after them in their home. Trying to look after them at their home just means that they've got their home environments, their home comforts. Why would you want to be anywhere else? It's alien otherwise.
Do Nancy's bloods. Are you going to shake the bloods?
Becky visits Nancy weekly to ensure her condition remains as stable as possible while she awaits her transplants.
Get your wiggly out for that,
Yeah, sure.
Oh.
What's that? Oh.
Today's visit, we need to get bloods. So we check our bloods weekly just to check that none of her blood levels are going up or down the wrong way. We give her vitamin K. We also need to do her blood pressure and her weight, and those two are just to keep an eye from a liver perspective on what's happening with her in case she's retaining any fluid or anything. You ready? Oi, look at that belly.
When she has her bloods taken or blood pressure, we do try and make it into a game, hence why she wants all of the equipment that they bring. She'd rather play with that than any toy we've ever brought her. So she wants the syringes, the alcohol wipes. She sits her sister and her brother down and tries to pretend they've got a Hickman line, you know, and she'll want to listen to their chest. So yeah, it's all fun and games for her. Yeah, she loves it, bless her.
Right, we've got to warm it up, haven't we?
Yes,
it's a bit cold. Don't get cold on your foot, do we? Oh, look at your toes.
We are going to be a fully fledged hospital soon. We've got everything else, that's all we need really, is the blood pressure thing.
That's all right. Should we get that off your foot?
So yes, please.
Back at Eleanor Hospice, Head of Education, Tricia, is preparing to deliver a talk to a delegation of international healthcare professionals.
My job entails planning and ensuring that the training for all our staff is up to date and that we can develop skills and expertise. Oh, the one thing we do want, though, we haven't got many of. Only 3. Okay. We're very fortunate in this country that we have a really great health service and care service, but not all countries are so fortunate. So today we've got some international visitors from Croatia and Bosnia-Herzegovina. They're coming specifically to find out how we provide palliative care in the community.
Come and sit down and we'll...
This group are primarily interested in learning about how best to deliver palliative treatment to the children they care for in their home countries.
90% of the care that we give here at Eleanor is care at home in the community. All of our children are cared for in the community. They will go to the schools, they will go to the oncology centres, they will work wherever the children are and wherever the need is.
We know that, and we had discussion, Gornja Bistra, hospital, children with severe mental impairment plus physical impairment. Are they part of palliative care or not?
In the UK, they are.
They are.
So the visitors that came today were really engaged. They really were, in particular, impressed by the fact that we have children's palliative care, and that the children's palliative care is delivered very much at home and in the communities. So it was quite an eye-opener, and they were really keen to go back and start engaging with other paediatricians to start to get the message of palliative care to a much wider audience. Long term, it would be great to see these countries being developed and having skills and expertise where they develop their own services, and we can start to learn from them in the future, because they will come up with innovative ways themselves of how they want to deliver care.
Meanwhile, clinical nurse specialist Becky is completing her checks on Nancy, ensuring the 4-year-old's condition remains stable while she awaits her organ transplants.
The thing with Nancy's condition at the moment is the liver disease is a big thing. People don't talk enough about organ donation. They don't, because Nancy's been on the list now for 9 months, and we do need to get it out there that it's not just adults. It is a sore subject, and it doesn't bear thinking about, but people need to think about putting their children on the organ donor register, because if they don't, then the likes of Nancy and all them other children out there wouldn't have a chance. That would be it. So this is really awful, but you need a child to donate to that child, because it's all about size. It is hard. I've sat there and I've thought long and hard about putting my children on the list. Some people are like, no, I wouldn't do that. But then what would they do if they were faced with a poorly child that needed that organ? Would that sway them? It is hard, but it's something that does need to be put out there a bit more. So, yeah.
All her obs were in range, so her blood pressure and her weight, so that's good news. She looked well herself and was eating, so that's good. It was a nice visit.
When Becky gets back to the children's team office, she sends off Nancy's blood test results.
Nancy's waiting for 2 organs, so that obviously takes longer. So no one can really say how long we're going to be waiting. We've just got to keep all our fingers crossed, everything crossed, and just hope that it'll happen soon. She's quite well at the moment, but obviously something could knock her off at any point, and that's what we don't want. We want to keep her as stable as we can for as long as we can.
At Eleanor Hospice, Head of Education Tricia is catching up with Senior Nurse Angela regarding a new staff member who requires some additional training.
The other thing that I wanted to ask, we've got a new nurse who started called Andrea. She's actually fairly newly qualified, and she's only started on Monday. Would you please be able to catch up with her and do her syringe driver competencies?
Yes, sure.
That would be super. And then she can be up and running, because she's already attended induction, so she can then be able to help out on the ward. So an important part of training is the one-on-one opportunities. Working one-on-one allows people the opportunity to go at their own pace, to question, and to work alongside people that have that expert knowledge. So it's learning, seeing what's being delivered, and then practicing what's being delivered, and then teaching the next person what's being delivered. When you're explaining about the syringe pump, you could just talk to her a bit about the symptom management as well while you're there, and help her with understanding of why we use it and the sorts of medications we use. That'd be great.
That'd be lovely. Yeah, no problem. Yeah.
That's great. Thanks ever so much, Angela.
Thank you.
Well done.
Over at Eleanor's coffee shop, volunteers Sandra and Andrina are coming to the end of their shift.
My name is Sandra. I've been a volunteer here for 4 years. As of a year ago, we've been together as our team. We've hit it off, we meet socially, which is the nice part of this place, and I love doing it. There's, as you know, volunteers in every section. This just suits us. But I mean, there's gardening, there's the kitchen, there's reception, there's ward, so there's loads they can do.
Many Eleanor volunteers form close friendships whilst working together, and Sandra and Andrina are no different.
Well, I enjoy that, and I think it's nice that we can have lunch together after we've been working, helping out at the canteen.
Instead of lunch at home on our own.
That's right.
Over at the children's team office, mentor Hannah is arranging for trainee care assistant Charlotte to shadow on respite visits to patients' homes.
We're going to go and visit JJ, do an evening respite to help Nan get a break, go and do all of his personal care. So Charlotte will be shadowing the respite team until she is fully competent and done all of her training, and she will then be going out and doing sessions on her own. So the purpose of respite is so that we can spend time as clinical professionals to be able to cater to that child's needs, so the parent doesn't have to worry, they can get on with their day-to-day or go for a sleep if they've had to be up the night before with that child. Anything that that parent wants to do in that time, they can leave the child in our safe hands, knowing that we're equipped to deal with whatever happens, and that we know what to do if something was to happen.
This afternoon, Charlotte will join Emma on a visit to 9-year-old JJ's home.
Whilst I'm on a visit with Charlotte to JJ's, I'll be going through his care plan with her and showing her where everything is in a care plan. I'll be showing Charlotte medication, on how to give the medication, and then once she's trained, she'll be doing that on her own.
All right, JJ. How you been? I hear you're a bit poorly. You had a chest infection.
JJ has a rare condition called ALD4 that degenerates white matter in the brain and causes decreased motor function.
I am the music man, I come from down your way and I can play.
What can you play?
I play the drum.
We're not quite sure how much JJ knows what we're doing with him. It's quite hard to get a reaction out of him. He can kind of make a laughing noise sometimes if he's really enjoying something. No one's quite sure how much he can hear. When we look after him though, we make sure we interact with him constantly. We show him his sensory toys, we bring things in occasionally. What Emma's taught me is that it's still, even though we don't know everything that's going on with JJ all the time, it is so important to interact with him and treat him just like any other normal child.
Okay, so I'm going to go and get your meds and go and get your water. So you get a big syringe and he needs 20 ml flush. Okay. So I don't know if you want to draw up the water for me.
Yeah, that's fine, yeah.
And normally if you tilt it, so it's like this,
yep,
and then you slowly push it up, obviously not too much because it will
come out. Yep. I'm still in training at the moment, so when Emma was teaching me about the medications, I felt like a little bit nervous. I felt okay in the sense that I've done medications with my daughter before, but it's a little bit nerve-wracking it being someone else's child and you having that responsibility and making sure that you've given them the correct doses.
Flush, JJ.
Quick flush.
Put that medicine in your tummy. Lovely. Charlotte did really well. Obviously, she has kind of an experience with her daughter in the past anyway. Your first visit, you find it is quite nerve-wracking because you don't know what you're going into and you don't know exactly what you're going to be doing.
And when you first meet a child, it is really hard to say learn their ways because every child is different. And at the end of it, she understood everything that I said and she did everything that I said. And I think once Charlotte's completed all her training, she's going to do amazingly well.
On the Eleanor's inpatient ward, senior nurse Angela is giving syringe driver training to new nurse Andrea.
And a syringe driver is used for symptom control, and it helps when you have a patient who needs multiple stats. It just limits the number of injections they have. You need to be careful if there are confused patients because they will pull this out. It's been known for patients to actually twirl the plastic and actually snap them into half. Especially dementia patients because they like to fiddle. That's one of the classic symptoms that they have. The other thing to remember is if a patient's incontinent, you don't want this to be lying next to the puddle of incontinence. I love teaching. I consider myself really lucky. When I teach, I always try to deliver the message that the patient's safety is at paramount, at the forefront. Andrea will be having a pump to work side by side with me, so as we go through the functions of the pump, she'll be able to play with the buttons and know how it works. I think that's the way to capture the excitement and to keep the learner intrigued. Now I want you to expel, to prime the line till you see drops of water in your end of your tubing. Prime the line till you see the drops come out at the end. Okay? Obviously you don't want too many drops because you'll waste.
Yeah.
For the purpose of this, I'm going to use this as the patient's skin. Hold, and you're going to go 35 degrees in. Oh, tough skin. Andrea took on very well. She was enthusiastic. It helps when you have a learner who wants to learn because it's helpful for the teacher as well as for the learner, so you tend to give a lot more. And she was very good. She's very, very receptive to training. So that's all for the training about a syringe driver. So you do one today, this afternoon. Okay, good.
As the end of another day at Eleanor approaches, housekeeper Michelle organises her cleaning cupboard.
It's now 4 o'clock, time for me to go home. So I come in, I make sure my trolley is all okay, ready for tomorrow, everything is on there. Put my pen back, turn out the light and go get changed to go home. I love my job because I meet lots of different people, everyone is very friendly and it's just such a lovely place to work. Every day's a good day, always busy, but yeah, I love it every day. We do it all again tomorrow.
After a busy day training with the children's team, Charlotte has brought her daughter and former patient, Paige, into the office to see an old friend.
Since Charlotte started, I haven't met Paige yet, haven't seen her again. Charlotte tells me stories and she tells me how her hair's grown in and is very long because when I knew her, she didn't have any hair at all. She was very vulnerable at the time when I looked after her to now. She's at school, she's got long hair, the longest hair I've seen on a child. It's just lovely. Hello. How are you doing? Your hair. Lovely long hair, it's longer than mine. Jealous.
Do you remember Hannah, Paige? You do? What do you remember?
I remember when you were having a nap and me and Hannah were in the living room and she made me mum my own toast.
You made mum my own toast? That's really random. I don't remember doing that. Would you like to see some pictures that we took when you came to Fun Club? And I think I might have a picture of you underneath the tent blowing bubbles with your face like this.
When Hannah and Paige saw each other again, it was a really lovely, emotional experience and also very funny.
It was so nice for them to get together and hear them laughing together and showing all the pictures that Hannah had found for so long ago. They had such a lovely bond together with before, and it's so nice to get them reunited again.
I'm really enjoying my training in the job. I'm really finding it interesting, and it's teaching me new things that I didn't know about before. Everyone is so friendly, so welcoming. It's like a mini family. It's a really great thing to be going from a parent to a children's care assistant. I'm really happy with how I've chose to do that because I'm giving back to the community what I received from them.